This is Peppa Pig. But she's not the little piglet you might remember from years ago. Peppa is now all grown up, living independently in her own little cottage, just on the edge of the cozy town that raised her. She has a job she likes, good neighbors, and all sorts of little routines to keep her happy. Today is a particularly sunny morning. Peppa sips her tea, stretches by the window, and flips through the mail stacked on her kitchen table. Outside, the dew is still thick on the grass, and a shy breeze stirs the laundry she's left to dry, the bright fabric fluttering in the light. Peppa glances at her phone, a group message from her old friends, Susie Sheep and Rebecca Rabbit. Don't forget community cleanup this afternoon. Rebecca's message reads, signed off with carrot and recycling emojis. Peppa smiles, pours the rest of her tea, and sets off about her morning chores. But today holds a lesson she's not quite expecting about hazards, those little pitfalls and troubles in life that come with being an adult. The morning unfolds as usual. Peppa cleans her kitchen, humming softly. She likes the ritual, the way the light skips through washed glass. She rinses dishes, wraps up leftovers. Then frowns. There's a tangle of cords under her sink, an extension lead slithering between a kettle plug and the toaster wire. She bends down, startled at the cluster. Oh my, Peppa murmurs. That looks hazardous. She can almost hear her dad's voice, Daddy Pig's old cautionary tales about tripping or making a mess of wires. Peppa retrieves a little box labeled cable ties from a drawer. It pays to be prepared. Carefully, she untangles the cords, fastens them neatly along the skirting board, and checks the sockets. Much better. She feels a tiny blossom of accomplishment and adds buy new plug covers to her grocery list. Next, Peppa needs to replace a light bulb in the hallway. Not wanting to stand on her tiptoes atop an unstable dining chair, she remembers when she'd done this last year, just about wobbling off. She grabs her sturdy stepladder from the shed, setting it on the flat tiles. Climbing up, bulb in hand, she steadies herself by bracing a hand against the wall. One careful twist, and the new bulb gleams. Mom would be proud, Peppa says with a chuckle as her hallway brightens. Time ticks on, and with her chores finished, Peppa changes into her cleanest pair of overalls, bright yellow, with plenty of pockets for gloves, wipes, and a tiny first aid kit she always keeps close. By noon, she's out the door and heading to the village green, where the community cleanup crew is setting up. Susie Sheep is already there, clipboard in hand, armed with task assignments. Pedro Pony, arms folded, peers at a stack of safety vests as if assessing their durability. The village green is dotted with litter and fallen branches from a storm the night before. There's plenty to be done. Peppa joins the group, slipping on a fluorescent vest. Morning, Peppa, Susie calls. We're just going over a few safety rules before we start. Peppa nods, listening. The council supervisor, Mr. Wolf, clears his throat, his approach gentle but matter-of-fact. Before we begin, let's remember, gloves at all times, no picking up sharp objects with bare hands, and don't try to move anything too heavy on your own. Watch for broken glass or slippery patches following last night's rain. The group disperses, armed with brooms, gloves, and recyclable trash bags. Peppa finds Rebecca, and they chat as they sweep leaves from the footpath, nudging muddy acorns into small piles. Not far away, Danny Dog is wrangling a bramble branch, blocking the bike path. He tugs, but the thorns snag unpredictably. Peppa watches as he nearly stumbles backward. Need a hand, Danny? She calls, stepping in with Rebecca. Together, the three of them steady the branch, snipping it into manageable pieces. Peppa frowns at the exposed thorns. Hazardous, she mutters, echoing the morning's lesson. Rebecca giggles softly, pocketing her clippers. There's always something, she says. By mid-afternoon, the crew approaches an overgrown patch beside the playground equipment. Old cans, lost tennis balls, and the odd fragment of plastic glint in the grass. Peppa spots a broken bottle, partly buried. She signals to Susie, who fetches a trash picker and a thick pair of gloves. Peppa kneels, brushes aside leaves, and carefully collects each shard into a rigid container. She double-checks her gloves for tears. Satisfied, she returns to her friends. Susie ticks an item from her list. You know, Peppa, you're always careful, she says with a quick smile. Peppa shrugs modestly. I suppose I learned the hard way. I used to trip over everything as a teen, even slipped on dish soap once, and spent a week hobbling around. Everyone laughs. Peppa's always been good at making a moment light, even when discussing scraped knees and hard-earned lessons. As the afternoon sun ebbs lower, the green is looking tidier. Peppa feels the reward of gentle labor, a warming tiredness, easy conversation, and the low buzz of a job well done. Susie calls the group together for a break. They form a small semicircle on the grass, peeling oranges and taking sips from water bottles. Mr. Wolf makes his way over, hands in pockets. Well done, everyone, he says. You've managed to turn a mess into something beautiful, and you've all been careful, too. Happens more often than not that someone snips their own finger or steps on a thorn out here. Not this year.